right, good Saturday evening. Chris Cerenelli here with you. After an absolutely picture-perfect Saturday, we've got pretty much a repeat on tap for our Sunday. Highs will remain in the low 70s to around 70 right on through the middle portion of next week. A cold front will come through on Wednesday, bringing us some showers, but even on the backside of that front, temperatures fairly close to the seasonal average. So a few more days of blissful weather. We'll talk about those midweek rain chances and a look into next weekend. 21 News at 11 starts now. Coming up on 21 News, millions are in the dark tonight after the most recent Russian missiles target Ukraine's power grid. The latest on the conflict and why Ukrainians are especially concerned tonight. Ohio Democratic U.S. Senate candidate Tim Ryan's campaign stops in the Valley as we close in on the midterms, why labor leaders in Niles say they're backing his campaign. And making history as Salem introduces its first woman mayor. A look at the historic installment and what the new leader has planned for her city.
Locally owned, locally connected. This is 21 News, 11 p.m.
Good evening to you, and thank you for choosing 21 News. Corey has the weekend off. We begin tonight with the latest out of Ukraine, where more than 1 million people are without power after an onslaught of Russian attacks on the power grid. With winter weather on the horizon in that region, many are fearing the months ahead. We get the latest now from NBC's Matt Bradley.
Tonight, a deeper sort of darkness settled over Ukraine after a fresh barrage of 36 Russian missiles targeted the country's electricity network, according to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Ukrainians say anti-aircraft systems shot down about half of them. But the attacks still left about 1.5 million people without power, according to the government. It's the latest in a weeks-long assault on civilian infrastructure the European Union is calling a war crime. Ukrainians in the capital now rushing to buy up generators to light and heat their homes. All right, so this is where the generators are supposed to be, and there's only 2 left. Some shoppers left empty-handed. Do you think that Vladimir Putin is trying to freeze you into submission? Of course he is. This shopper told me they do that deliberately to destroy the critical infrastructure. Will you surrender because you're cold? Never. We'll never surrender, he told me. Before we surrender, Putin will die like a dog. I visited one couple who fled from the besieged city of Mariupol 6 months ago. But Russia's relentless attacks followed them to Kyiv. We have some experience, she told me. We were living for a month under very tough conditions in Mariupol. We know how to survive. Thanks to these rolling blackouts, they're once again living in the shadows. This will have the exact opposite effect, she told me. Putin just doesn't understand how nationalistic we'll be now. For many here, life in darkness is an act of defiance.
That's NBC's Matt Bradley reporting. Meanwhile, tonight, conspiracy theorist Alex Jones wants a Connecticut judge to throw out a nearly $1 billion verdict against him. Jones calls that judge's ruling to compensate Sandy Hook victims' families, quote, a substantial miscarriage of justice. Those families sued Jones, claiming that his lies that the elementary school shooting at Sandy Hook in 2012 never happened subjected them to harassment and death threats. Back here in the Valley, Newton Falls police have arrested a man they believe robbed a gas station at gunpoint. Authorities took 24-year-old Adam McDermott into custody this afternoon. Police say McDermott went into the store, put a rifle on the counter, and demanded money before taking off. Tonight, he's charged with aggravated robbery with a deadly weapon. He'll face a judge on Monday. In Youngstown, an overnight shooting sends one person to the hospital. This happened on the city's north side just before 3 a.m. along Logan Avenue near Thornton. Police say someone in that region shot a man in the leg. He then was able to walk to a nearby bar and ask for help. Medics eventually took that man to the hospital where he was in stable condition at last check. So far, there's no word on any suspects. With just 17 days left until the November midterms, candidates are working nonstop to spread their message anywhere they can. Ohio's U.S. Democratic Senate candidate and Valley Congressman Tim Ryan stopped in his hometown of Niles to kick off a canvass with local labor leaders and activists. Union volunteers then went out to nearby neighborhoods to knock on doors and talk about what's at stake in just a couple weeks. The Union Veterans Council represents more than 1 million veterans nationwide. They insist that Ryan is their guy.
Well, it means a lot. So I represent veterans, and Tim Ryan has been a champion of bills like the infrastructure bill and veteran training programs for decades. And what's important to that is we talk about getting people jobs. We talk about taking care of our communities. It takes hard work. It takes legislation. It takes working together. And Tim's that person.
After starting his morning here in the Valley, Ryan then headed to Cleveland, Lima, and Toledo to meet with more union leaders and volunteers. Also in Niles today, the Democrat in the 14th District congressional race in Ohio made a campaign stop. Matt Kilboy, a Navy veteran and registered nurse, says he's ready to get to Washington and get to work. Now, the 14th District includes part of Trumbull County. That's where we caught up with him campaigning for votes. Kilboy says he wants to make access to health care for all and expanding education top priorities should he win. He's running against Republican incumbent David Joyce. Today marked an historic moment in the city of Salem. The first woman to be mayor in that city talked with folks at the site of the second Women's Rights Convention in America that took place some 70 years ago. 21's Janet Rogers got the mayor's perspective on this history and her priorities for the city.
The first woman mayor in Salem since the city was founded 216 years ago shared her ideals on strengthening the city by bringing an awareness of its rich history and working to abolish slavery and working on job creation to help attract people and families.
We are growing a strong manufacturing part of our city. We just now annexed 30 more acres into the city to provide between 25 and 100 more jobs that are good paying living wage jobs.
Mayor Cindy Baranzi-Dickey, who served the city as a councilwoman for 11 years, shared other ideals on how to make Salem shine.
We were talking about like some tree sales and caroling next to our parking lots to bring people into those parking lots and see where they are and have something exciting in those areas. We want to bring in youth groups to do performances, to bring people into our downtown.
The Salem Women's Federation hosted the meet and greet at the historic Schmucker House. The president of the organization tells us Salem has always had strong women, noting it was a site of the second Women's Rights Convention in America and was a pivotal point for suffrage or women's voting rights.
So we were the second one in the nation to do women's rights. And at our site, it was the only time where women only spoke.
With more local news, I'm Janet Rogers.
All right, thanks, Janet. Let's turn to weather now, and an absolutely picture-perfect day, as I said in my weather introduction at the top of the newscast. And the good news is we're going to do it all again on our Sunday. Let's get you out to the graphics and show you how we did in the temperature department, and hard to do much better than this for October 22nd around here. How about 73 officially at the Youngstown-Warren Regional Airport? The average high this time of year around 59 or 60 degrees. 55 outside our Briarfield Healthcare Center's weather camera as we look off to the east, down 422 in Niles, and it's going to be fantastic weather if you're running in the Youngstown Marathon. We'll get things started in the mid-40s at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. Plenty of sunshine, just a few weather clouds, and by the time the last runner crosses the finish line, we'll have our temperatures in the low 60s. Good food and good beer for an even better cause. Next on 21 News, we'll take you to the Mahoning Valley St. Vincent de Paul Society's Oktoberfest fundraiser. As October starts to wind down, people from all across the valley gathered for an Oktoberfest, all in support of the St. Vincent de Paul Society. They enjoyed traditional music, lots of authentic German food, always delicious, and some locally brewed beer. Volunteers also sold 50-50 tickets and had a basket raffle. Now, this wasn't just a night of good fun, it's also a gesture of goodwill that helps take care of people less fortunate.
Our main goal is to serve as many people in Youngstown as we can. So everything, all the proceeds from today go right downtown to serve the people of Youngstown.
If you'd like to volunteer your time or money, or if you or someone you know is in need of some help, just head to the St. Vincent de Paul website. It's right there on your screen and also on the 21 News app. The Mahoning Valley gets in on the fight to end Alzheimer's disease. Hundreds gathered at the Watts at YSU for the 2022 Mahoning Valley Walk to End Alzheimer's. The beautiful weather allowed the walk to be held outside today. The crowd was full of flowers, each carried by someone impacted by the disease. Volunteers have until the end of this year to reach their $141,000 goal.
It is the largest fundraising event for Alzheimer's and dementia. It's held annually in over 300 communities nationwide, and we're happy to be here in Youngstown today.
Now, it's estimated that about 6 million Americans nationwide suffer from Alzheimer's. The disease is ranked as the 7th leading cause of death among older adults in the U.S. Well, as we mentioned, lots of sunny skies, beautiful weather for that walk today and anything else you wanted to do outside. What do you say we do it all again tomorrow? Got your full forecast next.
This Storm Tracker Storm Cam is brought to you by Tom Duma Fine Jewelers, the Mahoning Valley's premier jewelry destination.
Some plentiful sunshine, some warm temperatures, some stunning blue skies, and it makes for an absolutely perfect day to get outside and check out the splendid fall color that has broken out across northeast Ohio and western Pennsylvania. The latest data from our fall foliage report shows most areas at or near, at least, peak conditions. As you get into the mountains of Pennsylvania, they're pretty much past peak, and I actually think there are some parts of our area that have passed peak as well. Of course, the next round of data that we get in, I think we'll see a little bit more of those brownish and reddish colors indicated on the map there. But nevertheless, take a look at our time-lapse video throughout this afternoon and evening, looking due west down Route 224 in Boardman at the picture-perfect sunset that we saw, and just few wispy fair weather clouds on the horizon as the sun went down tonight. And as we take a live look at Market Street and 224 outside of Briarfield Healthcare Center's weather camera, of course, we see all is quiet, with the temperature having cooled off in Boardman to 48 degrees. Looking at what is happening on the meteorological playing field tonight, high pressure center just off to our south, and that is kind of running the show, not just in Ohio and Pennsylvania, but over toward the mid-Atlantic, into New England, down into the Carolinas, at least for the most part, and even down into the Ohio and Tennessee valleys. And that is going to be the story of our weather for the next couple of days. As we carry you through the overnight hours tonight, really not a whole lot to show you on our high-res futurecast. A couple of fair weather clouds passing by from time to time. That is going to be about the extent of it. Temperatures will continue to cool off and stop around 44 by first thing tomorrow morning. Of course, we're going to wake up to lots of sunshine first thing tomorrow morning. Again, great weather if you're running the Youngstown Marathon. We can look forward to that. And as we carry you through your Sunday afternoon and into Sunday evening, again, clouds will be at a minimum, thanks to that area of high pressure that centered, again, just off to our south. Another day of overachieving temperatures once again, too. How about 72? And when our average high this time of year is around 59, 60 degrees, I will take that every single time, my friend. All right, as we go into Monday, we're looking for a dry day. Again, partly to mostly sunny skies. A little bit more in the way of cloud cover on Tuesday ahead of our next weather maker. That is going to come in the form of a cold front that will spread showers throughout the day over top of us on our Wednesday. Wouldn't be surprised to see one or two leftover showers or sprinkles first thing on Thursday morning, but we're going to dry out in time once again for another picture-perfect high school football Friday night across the valley. And how about next Saturday? For right now, high pressure looks to build back in, plenty of sunshine. A little bit more, though, in the way of cloud cover will work in by the second half of next weekend. Speaking of high pressure, here it is again, centered over top of us. As you see next week, this is that little ripple of low pressure and a cold front that it will create those showers for us on our Wednesday. But after that moves off to the east, high pressure once again builds back over much of the eastern two-thirds of the U.S. And looking into the longer range, how about these clues? Signals are for above average temperatures right on into the beginning of November. Once again, we will take it and run, all things considered. It's low 70s right on into our Tuesday. The cold front on Wednesday with the showers and low 60s. A little bit of a cool down Thursday on the backside of that front, but temperatures rebound by next weekend right back to where they should be for this time of year. We'll be right back. Every October, the nation shines a light on domestic violence awareness. Now, when it comes to physical abuse, skin color might make injuries harder to see. Now, one professor is studying a way to detect bruising more easily on darker skin. Jummy Olabanji has details.
I was an emergency room and trauma nurse for a number of years.
And during that time, Dr. Catherine Scafidi was amazed by the number of serious injuries she saw. That pushed her into a career in forensic nursing, helping victims of domestic abuse.
I became fascinated by the specific care that they needed in a time in which they were quite vulnerable.
Dr. Scafidi says oftentimes injuries like bruises were harder to see with the naked eye, especially when those victims were people of color.
Without being able to see them, there's nothing for me to document. If I can't document the injury, individuals who've experienced this violence, unfortunately, they don't have the evidence to really support the possible prosecution of the assailant.
She started researching alternate light sources with specific wavelengths.
And we were able to discover which wavelengths provide the best ability to detect bruises. And we discovered blue and violet lights work the best.
The study led by Dr. Scafidi found alternate light was 5 times better at detecting bruises on diverse skin tones compared to white light. In the CDC's National Intimate Partner and Sexual Violence Survey released just this month, 1 in 2 women reported experiencing physical violence, contact sexual violence, or stalking by an intimate partner at some point in their life. For Black women, it was slightly higher. Dr. Scafidi says the technology is working in nearby Baltimore. Mercy Medical Center is using it, and it's already been successful in introducing this evidence into court for domestic violence and sexual assault cases. She's hoping to expand it regionally and nationally.
Forensic nursing units haven't necessarily adopted this equipment for a variety of reasons. Due to the lack of clinical practice guidelines, the cost of the equipment, the concern that there isn't sufficient research to support its practice. And we're looking to change that.
That was Jummy Olabanji reporting. Meanwhile, Dr. Scafidi says her forensic nursing unit is excited to take on this technology, but to do that, her team will have to work closely with prosecutors and law enforcement. All right, next on 21 Sports, YSU football taking on Western Illinois. It all came down to the final seconds. We'll show you the exciting conclusion when we come back.
Good evening, everyone. Well, West Branch and Salem, they sure did put on a show to close out the regular season. The Warriors made it 9 straight wins in a shootout over the Quakers. Drew DeShields, he's a special one for West Branch. He now has the school record for passing yards, touchdowns, and completions. Let's take you over to West Branch and check this one out. Pick it up second quarter. West Branch up 21-17. Salem 2nd and 2 from the 42. Jackson Johnson airs it out to Ross Davidson on the sideline. And check it out here. He just refuses to go down, fighting for extra yards. Gets in for the score. Salem up 24-21. Warriors with the ball back. 3rd and 10. Drew DeShields to Christian Martig. Fingertip catch for the touchdown. West Branch up 28-24. 3rd quarter, West Branch opening kick. Nate Summers going to recover the onside kick. Couple plays later, 1st and 10 at the 38. DeShields to Summers again, and that's good for a score. West Branch up 35-24. 4th quarter now, West Branch up 35-31. Salem 1st and goal. Johnson on the keep. Salem up 38-35. Later, West Branch up 41-38. Salem 3rd and 7 at the 35. The Warriors' Hudson Brink comes up with a timely pick off of a tipped ball. Few plays later, West Branch 4th and 15. DeShields to Michael Carnegie for 27 yards. DeShields 337 yards, 3 touchdowns. You see him there. He gets in on the keep. West Branch with a big win, 48-38. They close out the regular season at 9-1. Well, YSU rallied from behind in the 4th quarter to pick up their 2nd conference win over Western Illinois. Another good day at the office for Jaleel McLaughlin. Tied the school record for 200-yard-plus games in a career with his 4th. And let's take you to Western Illinois and check it out. Jump straight into it. 1st quarter, Penguins' first drive. Mitch Davidson to Jaleel McLaughlin, and he's going to get loose for a pickup of 35 there. McLaughlin 210 yards on the ground today. YSU would settle for a 25-yard field goal attempt from Colt McFadden, and he's going to nail it. YSU up 3-0. 2nd quarter, Leathernecks knocking on the door. Clay Bruno is going to roll out to the right, finds Taj Sanders in the end zone. Western Illinois would take a 7-3 lead. Just under a minute left in the first half. McLaughlin up the middle, and he's going to fight his way in for the touchdown. YSU leading at 10-7 at the half. 3rd quarter now, the Leathernecks up 13-10. And it is Dre Rushton, the Liberty product, around the left side, and he's going to get in for the touchdown. Rushton 78 yards on the ground today. YSU back up 17-13. 4th quarter now, Bruno is going to connect with Nassim Brantley for a 25-yard score, and the Leathernecks would jump back on top 20-17. Few minutes later, Western Illinois back in the red zone. Bruno, check out that catch. Brantley again makes that nice grab there for the Leathernecks, leading at 27-17. Just over 2 minutes left in the game. Davidson is going to air it out, and he finds a wide open Bryce Oliver, who absolutely burns his defender. YSU back within 2 there after a 2-point conversion. Final seconds of the game, YSU going for the win, and McFadden's going to nail the 42-yard field goal. YSU gets the win, 28-27. From there we go D3 college football action. Westminster at Grove City this afternoon in second quarter, no score, 1st and goal for Westminster, and it's Braden Thimmons who's going to take it into the end zone to put the Titans on board first. Westminster gets the win over Grove City this afternoon, 24-17. All right, boys soccer second round tournament action. Poland versus Niles this afternoon, first half. Off the throw-in, Carson Maurer with the header goal, and just like that, it's 1-0 Poland. 2 goals today for Maurer, and Bulldogs looking to add on here, but Colton Polling's going to come up with the save for Niles. Check this out. The Bulldogs' Noah Huda weaves around a couple defenders, and he's going to put one in the back of the net. 2-0 Poland. 2 goals for Huda. And then later, Bulldogs looking to drive up that score. Poland makes another stop. Poling makes another stop for the Red Dragons, and then Poland's going to take another shot, and it's Andrew Slavin who's going to put in the follow-up goal. The Bulldogs win 9-0. They advance to the 3rd round to play Canfield on Tuesday. And we're going to finish up with some more second-round soccer action. Ursuline versus Salem at YSU, and we pick this one up first half. Irish on the move. Abe Rogers is going to take a shot. It's blocked, but he follows up and puts that one in, and it's 1-0 Irish. Later, the Ursuline looking for more, and Colin Reason's going to come up with the stop for Salem. Ursuline gets a win over Salem, 2-0. The Irish advance to play Chagrin Falls in round 3 on Tuesday. And the Cavs picked up their first win of the season tonight, Chris, over the Bulls.
Exciting stuff for sure. All right, Brittany, thanks. Finally tonight, today is National Make a Dogs Day. Now, since dogs make every day better for us, the least we can do is return the favor. It's an invitation to the dog lovers to go the extra mile for man's best friend and adopt a dog instead of buying one. Millions of dogs enter shelters in the U.S. every year, and many end up euthanized. National Make a Dogs Day encourages anyone who can to go down to their local shelter. We have so many great ones here in the Valley, and make a difference. I hope to do the same one day when I can give them a good home. That's all of our time for this Saturday night. As always, we appreciate your company. Have a good night and a better tomorrow.